this last summer when there was the big silver crunch and you couldn't get the pre-65 coins. And I thought, well, they're going for a 50 to 100% premium. What happens if that happens again? What happens if silver goes to $300 an ounce? Will people move towards smaller units?
This is the 47 Forum at silvercoininvestor.com with Dr. Jeff Lewis, helping you ride the wave of precious metals through the fragile world of investing, economics, and money.
Today, I wanted to share with you an interview with a new friend, a friend that I met recently. As many of you know, I was at the Silver Summit. It was in San Francisco just a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And the night before the event, I attended Bix Weir's event. He had a party through an event on the Friday before. And I met a fellow named Bill Ayers, and it turns out he has a really interesting story, an interesting couple of businesses that I wanted to share with you. And some of you know I've posted on the forum about this, but Bill makes these really amazing 1/10 ounce fractional or silver rounds, and I wanted to interview him and hear more about the process. It's fascinating. We've also been talking about refining lately, and so this kind of dovetails with that. And then also there were some questions I put out to the forum, and I think fractional silver, fractional gold, it's a somewhat of a controversial topic in the realm of what to buy, because a lot of fractionals that exist are more expensive. They carry a higher premium. Mm-hmm. And I may have actually been confused as to the reasons, but we don't have to go there now. But anyway, I just wanted to, Bill's here with us. Bill, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and we're actually doing this in person, which is probably something that will never happen. Again, most of the time we're doing these interviews, it's over the phone or on Skype, and so this is also an added benefit. So, Bill, tell us a little bit about your story and what led you to this world of 1/10 silver rounds.
Well, okay, that could be a huge story, so I'll try to hit the highlights.
Yeah, good.
Just like probably most of everyone in this community, started thinking about the economic situation, what was happening. For me, the trigger was 2007, 2008. Started looking at money, what's real money, etc. That's where my journey started with precious metals. Now on the side, the casting and making of things, I wanted to make a silver ring years and years ago. So I looked up on YouTube how to cast a silver ring, and I bought the stuff and started experimenting. I loved it. And so I've been fiddling around with that for years. Now what got me into the coins, I was working a gig at a big publishing company. I'm more an entrepreneur. I've had more businesses than jobs, but I was in a job and, sitting around 8 hours a day trying to look busy, going blind, looking at the computer, really my eyesight getting worse by the day, and feeling pretty much miserable. And so I started thinking about different businesses I could do and searching things online, and found the people who did hand cast silver on YouTube. And I like that, but I thought I want to do something completely different. So they go big and chunky, so I said, well, let's go small. What would that be like? And it was this last summer when there was the big silver crunch and you couldn't get the pre-65 coins. And I thought, well, they're going for a 50 to 100% premium. What happens if that happens again? What happens if silver goes to $300 an ounce? Will people move towards smaller units? I don't know. So as a fun hobby, nights and weekends, I started trying to cast. And I quickly learned it's not easy. The 1/10 ounce, what happens when you pour it, it just turns into a little bead. If you go half ounce or bigger, it'll fill a mold. But the surface tension on silver is so high, at that small quantity, you can't do it.
Wow.
So that started my 8-month journey of figuring out how the heck to do this. I did probably 3 or 4 different types of molds and as many different types of materials to finally figure out how to do it. And to get it a real, like a coin, flat on both sides. And that's the trick.
Wow. So what did you finally come around to? Like, what answers this high surface tension issue?
Without giving away all my secrets.
Oh yeah, no, and without, obviously, right? We don't know the recipe.
But I will. I'll tell you, because even when I tell you, trust me, it's a huge journey to even every step. Like, I probably told myself 8 times, this can't be done. I can't do it.
Right.
And every time I said that, I got pissed off at myself and said, that's why I need to do it. Because that means someone else has tried and quit at that stop. Right. So I kept doing it. The more you hit, the more valuable it's going to be.
Yeah.
Right. So what I came up with was a kiln system. I built a kiln. I looked up online how to build a kiln, like all from scratch in my garage. Built a kiln that goes up over 2,000 degrees. And I created, kind of think of it as like a waffle iron. A bottom piece with the molds, and you have to pick the grains of silver and put them in each and every little mold. Like, weigh every grain, put it in. It's a horrible process. It's tedious. You heat it up, it melts, and so you have all these little balls of silver sitting in these little molds. And you take another piece of mold and lay it very gently on top, and it presses it. Right?
Cool.
And then you let it get up to heat again to make sure the bubbles are all out, and you very, very, very carefully take it out and set it off and cool it.
Wow. And so does that second mold have is that where the dye is,
No.
where you're stamping it, or is that a different process?
No. Okay, so then I have what's more or less blanks.
Okay.
Right? And so then I take those, once they cool out enough, I can dump them out of the mold. Then I stamp them one by one on a piece of a block of stone I have in my garage with a custom stamp hammer. Bam.
Cool.
Bam, one by one. And then I put them in a tumbler.
Okay.
It's a typical rock tumbler, metal tumbler, jewelry tumbler.
Okay.
And tumble them, and that polishes it. Take them out, dry them off, and I'm done.
Cool. That's fascinating. So you were able to, identify what you wanted to do, and then find a lot of the information on YouTube, which is a testament to the fact that there's information out there at our fingertips.
Yep.
But then you still ran across like the challenges that any of us would have once, okay, now you've found at least some of the processes that you need. Well, they're unbelievable. And so along the journey, there must have been a couple of, I know there were lots of resistance points. Can you describe like one part of the journey where you thought, this is it? Like, anything that like almost, you said you were going to quit at each stage.
Oh, right.
What was the worst or the hardest part, I guess?
Well, wow, which one? Okay, so probably in experimenting with the molds, what I do is I made that up myself. I know no one else that does something like this. So I went through all these standard mold types, and none of them worked. And so I'm like, well, that's why there aren't 10th ounce rounds hand poured, because you can't do it. And that's when I said, screw that. I'm going to make it up. I'll figure it out. So I started thinking about other devices that do similar things. And I realized the problem, first you have the problem. You have this bead of silver. You can't pour it in anything because it'll be lopsided on one side, or the mold's not hot enough and it's so small and all this stuff. You can't get an exact measurement. So you have to smush it. That's your only option.
Yeah.
So I figured, what else smushes stuff? Well, a waffle iron. Okay, how do they work? Heat on both sides. I actually thought about making a kiln that was like a waffle iron. And then once I went through the mental process of that. I'm like, no, forget that. that's beyond what I want to get into.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. When I went through probably about my third or fourth mold type and realized that there's nothing that exists that will do this, that I could find anyway.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest challenge.
Wow. That's amazing. And if any of you want to see them, you have a website. Now, tell me a little bit about where the name came from.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, as some of you may know, there's a rumor, myth, saying, whatever. People have opinions that 1/10 ounce of silver is historically the wage for a day of labor. Carpenter, field worker, whatever.
Got it.
So it's per day,
Right.
per diem. So I call them per diems.
Yeah. It's cool.
That's where the name came from.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. That makes total sense. And so, and by the way, the website is Per Diem
Metals.
PerDiemMetals.com.
.com, correct.
Okay, and we'll have that someplace wherever you're listening. And so now that you have this process, and I understand we've been talking about how orders are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
You've sold some. You have people now contacting you through the website asking about custom orders.
Right.
So, how do you see this unfolding
Great.
going forward?
It's a great question. I don't know for sure, but I have a couple ideas. When I started this, I was working that job. Since then, I've been laid off. And that's when I went, okay, I'm going to go more into this and create more of a business out of this. But I also know that this is sort of a niche within a niche within a niche. And it may never become anything substantial. But I love to do it. I've had a ball. I like the people I deal with. I'll just keep doing that regardless. Right? And as a business owner, I believe that's a real key ingredient to any really successful business, that you do it anyway. Okay, with that said, I also see if silver starts increasing in price, as it should at some time.
Right.
You look at historical processes, it's going to happen. That could make the smaller denominations more interesting. Rather, if as we were talking before, if an ounce of silver is $300, it's like carrying a $300 bill in your pocket. It's not very useful. But if you have a 1/10 of an ounce, now it's like, it's $30. That's more usable.
Yeah.
And if that happens, if silver goes to 300, I guarantee you will not be able to get pre-65 coins.
Right.
They'll be gone.
Yep.
Like everyone who has them is already not selling them.
Yeah, we've seen in horrible prices, there is a black hole in the physical market where silver continues to be absorbed despite poor sentiment and lower prices. And so you bring up, I think, a really good point, and this is actually an interesting segue into a question that came up in the forum. There were plenty of comments, and people are definitely supportive of this as an idea, and some others are interested in refining, and there's somewhat of a dovetail with refining in terms of how you get silver to the point where you can put it in these molds. But so I guess you've touched on this. So the question was, do you see much of a future for smaller denominations, and if so, yeah, I guess you've answered this also. Maybe if you have anything else to say about having a special usage, there's two ways that it could go down, right? It could be that silver is so valuable that you don't really want to part with it. Mm-hmm. You may not want to transact with it. Maybe It's too valuable for any kind of transaction, and that these coins they're privately minted by you. They have a collector value just on their own. However, there is another scenario where, hey, if someone really doesn't want to transact in dollars, and yet you're buying smaller items, if you're in a gray market kind of situation, you don't want to pull out a $300 ounce silver shiny American Eagle. You'd rather Instead, and maybe not even barter with like an old gold necklace, you know,
Right.
if you had these fractionals.
Right.
And so maybe I answered your question, but
Well,
can you add to that?
Yeah, so right on. At heart, I am a real like anarchist. I wouldn't even say libertarian. I'm more like, I believe that we as humans are capable and able of governing ourselves. And when I say anarchist, I don't mean chaos.
Right.
I mean self-rule.
Yeah.
Through, basically, do what you say you're going to do and don't hurt other people. There it is. We can all agree on that, right? And if we do that, things work, right? Given the opportunity to. Humans are very giving and loving when they're not being stepped on or stolen from.
Right.
Okay, with that said, if you're wondering where I'm getting to, silver is a way of getting around the controlling governance. If you control food, money, or energy, you can control the other two. If you control them, you control everything, right? And without getting too much deep into all that and the suppression story of silver and everything, I'm not trying to change the system, I'm stepping out of it. Okay? I'm not going to fight the Federal Reserve. I'm not going to fight the laws that are going in place. I'm just going to make them irrelevant to my life. Because we are empowering all of that. It's not them, it's us. We're doing it because we agreed to, right? And so if I'm already doing trade with silver, I have a process that if people want to send me in their old generic coins or silver they don't want, I then give them back per diems at a rate, right? A cost. But, they're set up, these per diems are selling at 40 to 60% over spot. So I'm already trading in silver.
Yeah, this has been, not only something that's really cool and a fun hobby or passion, but it's something that allows you to do what all of us in a way where we're giving ourselves an opportunity to step out of the system or step aside.
Right.
And, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I see no reason to fight it.
Right.
I think over time and history has shown that doesn't work. So why do it?
Yeah. Well, I thank you, really. This has been great, Bill. And what I'll do is post this somewhere in the forum, and I'm sure there'll be some more questions after we post it. But in the meantime, let me just repeat the website where you can go and see these and or get in contact with Bill directly. It's perdiemmetals.com, PERDIEM metals, METALS.com.
Correct.
And I've seen the website. It's very simple to navigate.
Yeah, super simple.
There's a contact form, and just get a hold of him. Well, thanks so much.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Good.
Discover how you can find peace of mind, protection, and preparedness through the world's oldest and most potent investment vehicle. Check out Silver Coin Investor at 47forum.com.